Welcome, my friends. Well, as you probably know, Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg just dropped the big one. The rumors were true, Meta was headed for a huge layoff. And now, we learn that Meta is laying off 11,000 employees. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg made the formal announcement today. Layoffs at big tech companies have been ongoing since the spring. But now, layoffs appear to be accelerating. This includes established big names, Web3 unicorns, and everything in between. A year ago, this seemed unthinkable. But now it seems like an ominous sign of things to come. The world is still reverberating from the 50% layoff at Twitter. Elon Musk dropped that big one on Twitter employees on Friday. Since then, Twitter has been in some version of chaos. But Twitter is not profitable, and Elon Musk said that Twitter suffered a major revenue collapse in Q3. For his part, Elon Musk is doing what he thinks he can do to right the ship at Twitter. Keep in mind that Twitter has never been profitable. If you follow this channel or the general financial news, you already know that Meta has been quietly reducing headcount. Meta had a disastrous Q3 earnings call, to say the least. Wall Street analysts are getting very frustrated about the shrinking core business at Meta. And about Mark Zuckerberg's insistence on spending so heavily on the metaverse. It is almost as if Meta is abandoning the business that rocketed it to the top of the social network hierarchy. And they are deciding that the future will be nothing like the past. Mark Zuckerberg made it clear that the future of Meta is the metaverse. But that this is a very long-term investment. And, like a lot of Silicon Valley unicorn companies, time has come for the business to be rationalized. 2022 has been filled with layoff announcements, especially from technology companies. Normally, the layoff percentages range from 10% to around 20%. That has normally been a fairly high percentage of employees to be cut in a layoff. But now that Twitter has made a 50% layoff seem acceptable, will that become the new normal? Are we about to see other tech companies cut their employee bases by 50%, or maybe even more? This video continues our coverage of the wave of layoffs sweeping the United States. What does it mean for the housing market? What does it mean for the economy? And, what does it mean for the future of the United States? But, before we get into all of that, please press the like button and leave us a comment below. We would love to hear from you. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you are notified of upcoming videos when they are released. Meta is laying off 13% of its staff. That amounts to more than 11,000 employees. CEO Mark Zuckerberg officially confirmed the layoff in a letter to employees today. Today I'm sharing some of the most difficult changes we've made in Meta's history, Zuckerberg said in the letter. I've decided to reduce the size of our team by about 13% and let more than 11,000 of our talented employees go, Zuckerberg continued. We are also taking a number of additional steps to become a leaner and more efficient company by cutting discretionary spending and extending our hiring freeze through Q1, Zuckerberg added. Shares of Meta rose by almost 8% following the announcement. The layoffs come during what is, perhaps, the roughest of times for Facebook parent company Meta. If you recall, Meta gave pitiful Q4 guidance in its Q3 earnings call last week. The guidance, and, frankly, comments from Zuckerberg basically spooked Wall Street analysts. Shares in Meta sank nearly 20% after what I would call a disastrous earnings call. Wall Street analysts have been concerned about Meta's rising costs and expenses. Those expenses jumped 19% year over year in Q3 to $22.1 billion. The company's overall sales declined 4% to $27.71 billion in Q3. Q3 operating income fell 46% from Q3 of last year to $5.66 billion. The verbal exchanges between Wall Street analysts and Zuckerberg during the earnings call showed just how different their visions for Meta are. I want to take accountability for these decisions and for how we got here, Zuckerberg said. I know this is tough for everyone, and I'm especially sorry to those impacted. Zuckerberg also said. Zuckerberg characterized the cuts as basically across the board. Of course, the recruiting department will be cut more because Meta plans to hire fewer people in 2023. We extended the hiring freeze through the first quarter with a few exceptions, Zuckerberg said. To those who are leaving, I want to thank you again for everything you've put into this place, he added. Meta will give 16 weeks of pay plus 2 additional weeks for every year of service, Zuckerberg said. And, Meta will cover health insurance for 6 months. Zuckerberg and Meta are basically all in on investing in the metaverse. In a nutshell, the metaverse is a yet-to-be-developed digital world. The metaverse can only be accessed via virtual reality and augmented reality headsets. This is a major bet on the company's future, and Meta has invested $9.4 billion so far in 2022. What is more, losses are expected to grow significantly in future years. Meta plans to focus our investments on a small number of high-priority growth areas during the next year, Zuckerberg told Wall Street analysts in the Q3 earnings call. That means some teams will grow meaningfully, but most other teams will stay flat or shrink over the next year, Zuckerberg said. In aggregate, we expect to end 2023 as either roughly the same size, or even a slightly smaller organization than we are today, said Zuckerberg. Meta had around 87,000 employees at the end of Q3. Shares in Meta have fallen a whopping 73% so far in 2022. Meta's shares now stand at their lowest since early 2016. And Meta is now the worst performer in the S&P 500 so far this year. Many tech companies of all sizes are announcing layoffs this year. Lyft cut 13% of its employees. Amazon has frozen hiring and may be preparing for a layoff. And, of course, these layoffs come at a time of strong macroeconomic headwinds. If you follow this channel, you already know the economic narrative of the day. Inflation is raging in most countries of the world. Central banks in most countries are aggressively raising interest rates in order to fight inflation. Despite all of that so far, soaring inflation and Fed tightening persist. And the United States is teetering on the brink of a recession. A growing number of companies are cutting their payrolls. Most CEOs believe that a recession is coming and want to prepare their companies for it. So, people are feeling uneasy about the security of their jobs. Consumers are pulling back on discretionary spending. Corporate marketers are cutting back on ad spending, especially online. And ad spending is the lifeblood of most big tech companies. Zuckerberg's message in the earnings call went over like a lead balloon. And, on Friday, new Twitter CEO Elon Musk cut 50% of the headcount at Twitter. It was somehow assumed that Meta would be better with a smaller, quieter layoff. But, now that Twitter has set a new precedent, Meta could be seeing things differently. Prior to last week, a huge layoff could be seen as damaging to the brand of a big tech company. Now, the opposite is probably true. This might be especially true when it comes to comparing one tech management team to another. Because now that Twitter is owned by Elon Musk, all other big tech CEOs will be compared to Elon Musk. So Elon Musk has the courage to cut 50% of the employee base. How much courage does Mark Zuckerberg have by way of comparison? And Google CEO Sundar Pichai, for that matter. So, in many ways, Friday might have been a major turning point for tech companies. Now, the bigger the layoff, the better the company and the stronger the CEO and management team. It is not just Twitter. Many Silicon Valley companies are gearing up for recession with layoffs. But, what do you think? Please leave us a comment below and hit the like button. We would love to hear from you. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you are notified of upcoming videos when they are released. Please share this video on social media. Thank you for watching.